Scene script. Have you ever wondered why your child's math homework feels like deciphering the Da Vinci Code? Welcome to the Universal Parent Club, where the initiation ritual involves battling with the formidable beast known as homework. Yes, we've all been there, haven't we? One moment you're a confident adult and the next you're questioning your life choices while staring blankly at your third grader's algebra problems. And it's not just math. English, science, history, you name it, they've got it, and you're meant to help. But let's be honest, the last time you studied the water cycle or the Pythagorean theorem was probably a few decades ago. And let's not even get started on the new creative ways they're teaching multiplication these days. So why do we find ourselves in this peculiar situation? Why does homework, a task meant for children, end up being a daunting endeavor for adults? So let's dive into the reasons why helping with homework can sometimes be a comedy of errors. Remember when you confidently explained the water cycle and your child ended up thinking it rains because clouds are crying? Ah, the joys of parenthood. Now let's dive into some of the hilarious misinterpretations that can occur when parents try to play teacher. Picture this. You're passionately explaining photosynthesis to your 8-year-old. You've even drawn a little diagram of a plant, complete with sun, water, and carbon dioxide. You finish your explanation feeling like a Nobel laureate, only to have your little one ask, "So, plants eat sun and drink water like we eat pizza and drink soda?" Well, not exactly, but close enough. Or how about the time you tried to explain fractions to your 10-year-old? You used pizza slices as an example, hoping to make it more relatable. But instead of understanding fractions, your kiddo ended up with a new theory. The more pizza you eat, the less you have, therefore eating causes weight loss. If only, dear child, if only. And who can forget the classic birds and bees talk? You tried to keep it simple and age-appropriate, but somehow your 6-year-old got the idea that babies are delivered by a stork who picks them from a magical baby tree. Now every time they see a stork, they excitedly ask, "Is it carrying a baby, mommy?" These humorous anecdotes serve as a reminder that while our intentions are noble, our execution might need a bit of tweaking. Misunderstandings and misinterpretations, while amusing, can lead to confusion and misinformation. We don't want our kids thinking that eating pizza is a weight loss regimen or that storks are baby delivery agents, do we? So, clouds crying, huh? Maybe we should leave the teaching to the teachers. Ever tried explaining fractions to a child who's more interested in the fraction of time until they can play video games? Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Picture this. You're sitting down with your little one, a sheet of math homework between you, and the air is thick with tension. You're trying to explain that 1/2 and 2/4 are the same thing, but your child's eyes are glazing over, their focus is anywhere but on the task at hand. You can almost see the video game controller dancing in their eyes. Frustration begins to bubble up within you. You try to keep your cool, but it's like trying to stop a kettle from whistling once it's boiling. You raise your voice, you point to the pie chart, you repeat yourself for the umpteenth time. But alas, your words are falling on deaf ears. Imagine trying to herd cats into a bathtub. That's what it feels like trying to engage an uninterested child in homework. You're pulling out all the stops, trying every trick in the book. You're bargaining, pleading, even attempting to make fractions seem fun. But for every step forward, it feels like you're taking 2 back. The stress is palpable. You can feel your blood pressure rising, your patience wearing thin. You try to remember that they're just a child, that they're not doing this to annoy you. But it's hard to keep that in mind when you're in the thick of it. And then, it happens. You find yourself yelling at a pie chart, berating the fractions for daring to be so confusing. You're caught in a full-blown rant about the audacity of mathematics to be so complex. Your child is staring at you, wide-eyed and surprised. You realize you've become a spectacle, a frustrated parent losing their cool over fractions. And that's how you end up yelling at a pie chart. Not our finest moment, right? Ever sat down to help with a quick homework question, only to realize it's now 2025 and you've missed 4 Christmas dinners? Now we all know the gravitational pull of homework is a force stronger than nature itself. One minute you're breezing through your day and the next, you're knee-deep in long division and photosynthesis diagrams. And let's not forget the timeless classic, "Oh, it's just one question." But that one question is like a gateway into the labyrinth of academia, where time and space cease to exist. Take for instance little Susie's simple math problem. It starts off as an innocent request. You're thinking, puffed, one math problem, I've got this. But oh, how wrong you are. That one math problem mutates into a hydra of equations, and every time you solve one, 2 more spring up in its place. Before you know it, you're pulling out your hair, questioning your own intelligence, and wondering if you've accidentally stumbled into the plot of a time travel movie. Or perhaps you've been roped into helping with a history assignment. It starts with researching one historical figure, and suddenly, you're knee-deep in the intricacies of the French Revolution, conducting a deep dive into the psyche of Napoleon Bonaparte, and questioning why you're not getting paid for this level of scholarly research. And let's not even get started on science homework. One minute, you're explaining the water cycle, and the next, you're knee-deep in quantum physics, trying to explain the concept of superposition to a 10-year-old. So the next time you're asked to help with a quick homework question, remember, it's not just a question, it's a wormhole into an alternate universe where clocks run backwards, and 5 minutes somehow equates to 5 hours. And you thought black holes were the only things that could warp time. Who knew helping with a simple history homework could start a family feud over who discovered America first? Let me tell you, it's a wild ride from assisting with homework to inadvertently sparking off monumental family debates. Picture this. You're calmly explaining the mysteries of the Pythagorean theorem, and the next thing you know, you're refereeing a heated discussion about whether the square on the hypotenuse really equals the sum of the squares on the other two sides. And it's not just the human members of the family. Oh no, we've seen a fair share of four-legged scholars too. Like that time when my friend, while helping her son with algebra, accidentally taught the family dog Max the principles of equations. Who would have thought that a canine would develop an affinity for coefficients and constants? Max now barks in a pattern that suspiciously sounds like he's solving for x. Then there was the time when a dad, attempting to explain the concept of time zones, ended up convincing his daughter that they could travel in time. For a whole week, she woke up at odd hours, thinking she had successfully time traveled. The parents were not amused, especially when their little time traveler decided to beam up to the future at 3 in the morning. And let's not forget the infamous Venus incident. While explaining the concept of planets, a mom casually mentioned that Venus is often called Earth's twin. The next day, her son proudly announced in class that Earth had a twin sister who lived in outer space. That led to an impromptu parent-teacher meeting and one very confused astronomy teacher. So, as you can see, lending a hand with homework can lead to some rather unexpected and hilariously entertaining consequences. It's like opening Pandora's box, but instead of releasing all the evils of the world, you're unleashing a whirlwind of misunderstandings, debates, and the occasional genius dog. So next time you think about helping with homework, remember, the dog might end up smarter than you. So what have we learned from our foray into the wild world of homework help? Well, it seems that our best intentions might just be leading us into a labyrinth of confusion and frustration. We've seen how our attempts to help can sometimes twist lessons into pretzels of incomprehension. Remember the algebraic nightmare? Or the history lesson that somehow morphed into a sci-fi saga? We've also discovered the mysterious time warp that homework help seems to create. What feels like 10 minutes might just be 2 hours in the real world? And let's not forget the unexpected consequences, like the sudden urge to build a scale model of the solar system, or the impromptu performance of a Shakespearean soliloquy. So, while our hearts are in the right place, maybe it's best to let the professionals handle the homework. And there you have it, all the reasons why you might want to think twice before diving into that homework pile. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more hilarious parenting truths.